Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of philosophy, spirituality, mysticism, and interiorism. So we're going to explain here in a little bit to rapid lifestyle transformation, to getting everything that you want quicker than you thought possible, to getting you free in schedule and free in space so that you can create the masterpieces that you came here to create. Ladies and gentlemen, and things are coming to a head both in international affairs and both in the personal lives of everybody I know and everyone I'm talking to. There's great, shall we say, change. There's great tumult. There's great shaking up, and people are knowing what it is to lose health, to lose people close to them, unfortunately, to lose jobs, to lose streams of income. And indeed, I know several people who are going through processes of losing everything. Of course, it's these processes that teach us how to become who we truly are, how to become master manifestors. But it used to happen a lot slower. Now the pace is quickening. And of course, with bigger problems come greater results. And we're the recipients of that great inheritance. But we have to learn how to wake up to it, because the world's going to benefit from the desires that we're putting out, from what's on the other side of the calamities. But the question is, will we? And we cannot benefit from it with halfway measures, ladies and gentlemen. We used to be able to go into this and put one foot in and sort of try it. Things are moving much too quickly now. And if you just study the works of Greg Braden and other scientists, they talk about the fact that we are in a cycle now of quickening. We're in a cycle of great tumult and great change, both in, again, personal lives and in international affairs. So it's becoming more and more urgent to adapt this modality. All of the spiritual teachers have talked about it. But I want to put it to you in a way that may have never been put to you before, or in a way that it may have never been put to you before. And if you look into the teachings of all the spiritual greats like Neville, Abraham Hicks, all of the spiritual teachings of the great religions and others, they say this, and you'll find it replete in their works, but they don't emphasize it in the way that we're going to emphasize it now. Joel Goldsmith did, but even his teaching was a little bit cryptic and so on and so forth, and you had to be an advanced student to get a lot of it. So, nothing original here, but I am writing a book about this. We're getting ready to put out materials about this, and this is what this philosophy is boiled down to, and that is interiorism. In the sense of this, what all of these teachings, all of these spiritual teachings, metaphysical teachings, philosophies, and practices are geared towards is breaking you of the tendency to ascribe a cause to anything outside of yourself, and indeed to ascribe an end to anything outside of yourself. Let me simplify it for you even more. It's getting you to turn your gaze inwards as opposed to outwards, and getting you to expect all of the rewards and blessings from within, and to expect nothing from without. Of course, this is easy if you've been following the channel since the early days, because we talk about the fact there's no contradiction anyway. There's no duality. There's no polarity in reality. And as the collider spins faster, so to speak, in an apt metaphor here, so too do we get closer to actually being in that ultimate reality. So this reality, the virtual reality, the faster it moves, is actually going to get closer in nature to its genesis, which is the true reality. I hope you understand me just a little bit. So There's no duality, so therefore you cannot expect something on an outward plane, because there's no outward plane. Indeed, there's no inward plane, but there's no duality. Therefore, expecting your good to come from anything outside of you, to come from anything separate to you, is a mirage, an illusion. And all of these teachings are meant to eventually break us of this tendency. I hope we can break it to you, or break it for you very quickly, because a lot is riding on that. Why? Well, because as we know, once we truly have something within, once we become the different person and attain the state of that desire within, then it happens without. But if you're trying to get it to happen on the exterior, then, especially in these times, you're going to get further and further away from the interior. The good news is that a lot of the trials and tribulations and so on and so forth force us to go interiorly. And I will dedicate this video to a friend of mine. I won't mention his name, but he is facing a health scare. On the outer, he's facing a health scare. He's a relatively young man, and he's facing a very severe health scare. He's had some incidents in the past. Now this is the worst one. And he was coming to me just venting and so on and so forth. And I told him the same thing. Your health on the outer is not going to hold up. Why? Because you're on a film roll where that's not happening. What do you do in order to change that? You can't change it on this film roll. You have to get to another film roll. But the fact of your fear and the fact that you're looking for results on the outer keeps you on that film roll. That's the paradox. In order to get off of this film roll, you have to go completely within. So completely within that you deny your very senses, and indeed, and this is going to sound like a departure, but it's not, because there's no contradiction. And you're mature enough to hold it all. You've been studying this for a long time. You even have to ignore your feelings in this case. Why? Because any feeling to the contrary is not true. And by the way, it's not a feeling, because if you label it a feeling, then it's a feeling. But if you observe it, as we've taught in other videos, then it's no longer a feeling. It's just a part of that being, and indeed it's on the path to what you want. So what do you have to do? You have to focus completely on the interior, and that's why we're teaching this philosophy in such stark relief, what I'm going to call interiorism. And interiorism is literally expecting nothing without. All the spiritual greats talk about this. Bashar talks about doing something without any prejudice as to the outcome. Abraham Hicks says, do not be attached to outcome. Even Neville Goddard says, live from the end, therefore you're not expecting any outcome. Outcome is out of the equation. You're looking for income, interior come, interiorism. And we're doing this in an extreme way now, ladies and gentlemen, because things are getting so polar, so to speak, that we're going to have to go within and extremely reject the outer for a time. Of course, you're going to see results on the outer, but you don't look for those results on the outer. So what are we doing? We're dropping any goal or objective. Don't set any goals. And in fact, I really like the division that the great Trevor Blake, the great multi-millionaire pharmaceutical industry entrepreneur, a maker of cancer medications, who knows this material well and has written many books, says he differentiates between goals and intentions. And goals are something that we want to accomplish on the outer. And that's all fine for your next Zoom call for your prison grid job that wants to force people, say, to do surveys or something like that. Or it's good for planning a dinner out somewhere next week, although the way things are going, for many people, who knows. But we're going to drop the concept of attaining anything on the outer, because you don't need to, because what you're going to learn and realize through going within, through becoming familiar with your interior world, you're going to realize that you already have that on the interior, and you already are true happiness. But it's going to take a radical change of mind. The Christians call it in Greek metanoia. The Muslims call it a tawbah, turning, a changing of mind. How do you change your mind? You don't change your thoughts because you can't, because once you've had a thought, it's already too late. This goes past positive thinking. No, what you do is you observe your thoughts, you allow them to pass. You observe your feelings, you allow them to pass. As the great teachers and mystics taught, you observe the observer, you become completely present. And then when you get into that neutrality, into that nothingness, through being completely present, through meditation, through a recognizing and a knowing of who you truly are, then from there you start to choose the reality that you are experiencing now. Not trying to superimpose it upon your current reality, because you can't, because that's another film roll. But living it now, literally now, which is going to mean different things at different times. You're going to have to become skilled at this. You're going to have to become versatile in this. And it's this channel and myself who are going to, in the coming days and weeks, lay out this philosophy step by step for you so that you can get a grasp on it, so that you can practice this. But the teaching will mean nothing unless you actually put it into practice. You have to practice this. You have to get so good at this and familiar with it. And as Joe Dispenza talks about, meditation means become familiar with. You're going to have to become familiar with this. You're going to have to reintroduce yourself to your own interior landscape, and you're going to have to cut off the ties of that dependency on the external world, and you're going to have to do it as a matter of urgency. And of course, the first tool that I'm going to give you today, is a tool that we've talked about many times. That's presence. You are already who you want to be, and there's nothing that you need to do. Why? Because what you want already is, and you become it the moment that you shoot out that desire. However, do you really want to live on a film roll in which that's hidden from you? Or do you want to come into resonance with it now? One of the easiest ways of coming into resonance with the totality of who you are now, not who you were a second ago, not who you were a minute ago, because that doesn't exist anyway, but who you are now, is to just become completely present. You can drop into presence 1,000 times a day. Anytime you start to even feel a smidgen of negative emotion, there are many ways and many methods, but the easiest way and easiest method is to come into your inheritance, is to realize who you are. And that is just to completely drop into presence. Just look around. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, said how easy it is to just blot out all desire, all opinion, all past and all future. How easy it is just to blot it out. Blot out all problems. You can do that right now. And going into the present moment is going within. And that's interiorism, which we're going to present here over the next few days as a philosophy, as a grounding, and as a framework that's going to help you get into this, and that's going to help you take your manifestation to the next level, but not looking for it in goals, but rather being it and knowing it. So ladies and gentlemen, practice interiorism, get into the present moment, and start going within for your good, because it's already there, and you can drop the outer. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, I am doing coaching calls where I take you through these methodologies hand in hand. You'll make more progress in weeks than many people make in months and years. I will put my email in the description. Please subscribe to the channel if you find value in these videos. We're putting them out every week. Videos that help you, especially with rapid lifestyle transformation, with becoming a new person rapidly and doing what you came to do. So thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for sharing the videos. Thanks for joining my channel. And thank you for being on this journey with me. Until very soon, guys. Lots of love.